On the 6th of December at the Dakota Bar and Grill, Avishai Cohen returns to that scene with Bill Carrothers and Jay Epstein to help stretch out, create, and demonstrate what impairment and barriers can be lowered through music. And certainly, not only is music the universal language of which Avashai thinks so much about, but it's also a kind of therapeutic path to all kinds of things. On the line with me is Avishai Cohen. He's on the East Coast, and he'll be with us on the 6th of December at the Dakota to hear more about this music and for all of us to share in its performance and blessing. Avishai, welcome into Minnesota Public Radio.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Well, when you first encountered this project and through Dan Moffat, what was your thinking? And well, I know you're involved with it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see this young man who composed this music?
I have not yet, but the whole that idea of incorporating in any kind of way children's ideas in whatever kind of way they would be, and just finding just the way to incorporate it into the composition is a brilliant idea, and I loved it. And right away, I wanted to be a part of it. You know,
well,
it seemed like a very unique thing and very beautiful.
Did you get a lead sheet for this to begin with?
Yeah, well, Dan had some lead sheets, and the musicians were great, and the ideas were pretty simple, but open to the imagination of a great player like Bill or whoever, So it was just another great session to play, but other than that, it had an extra edge to it because of that very creative idea of incorporating those children's little quotes or ideas and compositions. It's a twist. It's a great thing.
And it turns out to be more than a twist, doesn't it? As you and Bill and Jay took it to completion.
Exactly.
Well, that happens in the studio a lot, doesn't it? When you're working with seasoned musicians.
Exactly. When you're working with such great musicians, it always happens in some kind of way. There's better nights or days, of course, but always there's a lot of room to creativity and spontaneity. A lot of good stuff.
Where did you begin your career, and did you start in the world of classical music as well?
You can say that. I think mostly the influence of classical music was through music that I heard my mom play at home. Just play records.
Yes.
So it began with that, but it went to my actual taking lessons as a kid, piano, classical lessons. And it developed from that to anything else that I heard. But classical music was heard in the house, and that's the most influential aspect of it.
Now, the bass as an instrument, when did you first encounter that?
I started playing electric when I was 15, and then when I was 20, approximately, I started playing the upright. As a teenager, it began. Went into the 20s. I was in my early 20s when I started the upright.
When you were on the upright, were you thinking in terms of contemporary pop music, or was jazz around?
No, it was jazz. It was the reason for me to start playing the upright was because I was getting serious about that music, so-called jazz, quote unquote, because I don't like to call music by name, but if I have to. So that meant if I wanted to be a great bass player, it meant I had to pick up the wood bass. Or at least as a kid, I noticed that. So I wanted to fulfill that, and it seemed like a great instrument. So I took one, and I rented one first, and then bought one, and then just practiced intensely and very devoted, like, I was just really devoted all my time to it. And in a few years, I already had some sound, but I can say that it took me at least 4 to shape some kind of sound that I was happy with. It takes a long time to.
And when you say 4, you mean 4 years, or?
Mm-hmm. 4 years, yeah.
Yeah, well, absolutely. That's a university quotient in the United States, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the compositional side, which you're deeply involved with, has that been growing in parallel in your life?
Yeah, well, the composition sense of things is actually the heart of things for me. As I always composed, even when I didn't know that I did when I was younger, and then as I understood what I was doing as time goes by and I'm growing more mature, I understand the importance of the composition and what it evolves and what evolves through it or from it, So it gets more and more to be the first thing, the main soil of everything else. So either if I play piano or bass, it doesn't matter. What matters to me is what is the composition, or like if I'm serving the composition, or if I like the composition, And that really states everything. It all comes from that.
Talking with Avishai Cohen, who joins with Bill Carrothers and Jay Epstein on Thursday, December 6th, in behalf of Courage Center Project for young impaired people and their stake in a project designed by Dan Moffat, composing and utilizing music in a therapeutic way. And I want to thank you, Avashai, for taking time. And
my pleasure.
Before we close this down, there is a collection that you've produced, which is called really the songs, and it has a brilliant collection of materials with your International Vamp Band.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a theme called Short Story, which you might footnote for all of us listening as we await your arrival on the 6th of December. What is behind Short Story?
Well, the theme of the melody is very story-like to me, at least. It's like dee-da-da-da-da-dee-da-da-dee. It's saying this and that. Although music doesn't really say words, it actually has a motion of a story-like telling. It's like, this is what happened one day. I don't know, to me at least. And then it's not that long of a theme, so I called it short. But in actual fact, when we play it for people, it's pretty long tune. So I always say not so short story, but it's a short theme that goes into a vamp of a very passionate South American feel, with a vamp of 2 chords that Diego Rocola, the trumpet player, just takes and rips apart, So it's fun. It's a fun tune. Short theme, short story. This is our story.
Thank you for the footnotes.
Okay.
And
thank you very much.
Meet you on the 6th of December.
Okay.
Good night.
Bye-bye.